Hello, Daryl Smith again from South Dakota. Today I'm going to try to do another video. As you've probably noticed, I'm struggling a little bit. Well, a lot. I'm just not used to public speaking or talking to a camera. Hang with me. I hope to get better. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about my grandpa. His name was Oscar Franklin Rhodes, R-H-O-D-E-S, and we share the same middle name. He was a tall, strong, aggressive man. I didn't like him very much. His loud and forceful voice seemed to mean that he was a mean person. I was afraid of him. He ruled his family with an iron hand. He traveled a lot, but when he came home, he let everybody know that he was in charge. My grandmother, Ethel, raised 7 kids and managed that farm by herself. She was a dear soul. Papa Rhodes' father died of cancer. I remember seeing a picture of the whole family along on the front porch of a house. They were all looking at the camera except for him, and he was looking 90 degrees to the right. You could only see the left side of his head and face. The rumors were that the cancer was on the other side, and he was hiding that cancer. Well, his father dying was a traumatic thing for Papa Rhodes, and he decided and worked at trying to find a cure for cancer. And he claimed that he did, and he became known in the area as being able to cure cancer. So when people got cancer, they would call him, and he would go to their house and live with them for a while to treat the cancer. Whether it anything, whether it did any good or not, nobody knows for sure. I do know, or I feel like I know, that he had no medical training or scientific training whatsoever. There's a lot of stories that he told and that can be told about him, and I'll tell you a couple of them today. The kids had to walk about a half a mile to a school bus pickup, and then it was about a 5-mile ride into the little town of Munford where they went to school. One day, somehow the boys got a puppy. Somebody had given them a puppy, I guess, and the bus driver would not let them on the bus with the puppy. So the boys walked home leading a dog with a little cotton rope. Well, Papa happened to be home that day, and when they brought the dog up, he looked the situation over, picked up the puppy by the back legs, and killed it by smashing it against a tree. He discarded the body in the thicket down behind the house. Another story, when he was out traveling, he brought home some legging type thing, something that wasn't being worn by kids at that time, but he insisted that my mother wear it. She was embarrassed, but she didn't have a choice. So they had to walk to the bus, and as soon as they got out of sight of the bus, they took that off and put on something more acceptable, and she was happy with that. So he was a hard man, but they had ways to work around him. There's a rumor that, maybe more than a rumor, that he had a relationship other than at home. From this relationship, a child was born, a boy. And this boy grew up in the community, and when World War II broke out, he joined the Navy. Well, he ended up in the Pacific, and he was a gunner on a ship. The ship came under attack by Japanese dive bombers, and he stayed at his position all the way until the bomber crashed into the ship and he was killed. Well, he was a hero. They gave him medals, and he has a monument in the parking and a graveyard somewhere in West Tennessee today. They even named the ship after him. He was a hero. So there was another little story. The Papa Rhodes' house was out in the country, and the road was even no gravel; it was dirt. And the neighbor came over, and he came face to face with my grandpa and my grandpa, and he said, "Mr. Rhodes, my babies are hungry. I'm gonna go to your barn and take some corn so that they can eat." Papa Rhodes stepped apart. So there are many stories, but I know one that is true for sure. He was a great storyteller. One day he had a meal at our house, and after the meal he announced that he was going to tell a story. He made us kids sit down and told us not to move about. So he told this story, and he didn't have to worry about us moving about because he developed the characters. He told about the scene, and he staged it all, and it was spellbinding. So the story goes. I've said this 2 or 3 times. It was a hard time back then. It was, and his job was to go into the woods. He was a teenager. Go into the woods and find game to supplement the meals that they could put on the table. He went several times a week. As he's headed toward the woods, he always passed a house, and at that house there were 2 boys. They always begged him to allow him to go with them. One day he said okay. Well, it was a bad day. They had the boys talked too much and made too much noise, and they begged him to shoot the gun because they just wanted to see him to shoot it. And he wouldn't do that. So anyway, they didn't get any game that day, and they were heading back toward home, and Papa suddenly heard a noise from behind them. He recognized it right away, but didn't say anything. He walked a little farther, and the noise followed him, and he heard it again. He fired his gun, and the boys were excited, but they also heard that noise, and they were curious what it was. It was a mountain lion, and the lion was following him. He loaded his gun, an old muzzleloader, with a much heavier load, and they continued to walk in the direction of home. Near the edge of the woods, the mountain lion showed himself at a very close range. Everybody stopped and looked. The lion looked at them, and he looked at the lion. They looked at the lion. The lion looked left and right, and then leaped upon a limb and ran to the end of it and dived into the brush and disappeared. Well, they continued their walk home, but there was a sloshing noise. One of the boys had peed his pants, and the liquid was collected in his oversized secondhand shoes. So that's kind of the stories, some of the stories that about my grandpa. You got a little bit of an idea about him. He was a complicated man, but somehow I feel connected to this old man. That's my story. Thank you.